We encounter countless substances every day. Many seem harmless. We might use cleaners without a second thought. We cook with oil and gas. We paint our homes and touch up scratches on our cars. But what we consider ordinary can actually be dangerous. Common products can pose hidden risks. Some are toxic, others are flammable. Some might even be explosive. We don't expect danger from everyday items. It's crucial to be aware of the potential dangers lurking in plain sight. OSHA's Hazard Communication Standard is a powerful tool for workplace safety. It outlines specific requirements for employers. They must identify and list all hazardous chemicals present in the workplace. They need to obtain and maintain safety data sheets, SDS, for each chemical. And they must provide training to employees on how to safely handle these substances. Employees also have a crucial role to play. They need to actively participate in hazard communication programs. This means attending training sessions, reviewing SDSs, and following safety procedures. By understanding the information provided, employees can make informed decisions. They can choose the right personal protective equipment, PPE. They can follow proper handling and storage procedures. Open communication between employers and employees is essential. Employers should foster a culture of safety and provide clear, accessible information. The goal of hazard communication is simple: to create a safer workplace for everyone. By understanding the risks associated with hazardous materials, we can minimize accidents and injuries. This benefits not only individual workers, but also the company as a whole. When employees feel safe and informed, they are more likely to be focused and efficient. They are less likely to experience stress and anxiety related to potential hazards. A strong safety culture can reduce costs associated with accidents, injuries, and lost productivity. It can also improve employee morale and reduce turnover. In the following sections, we will delve deeper into the different aspects of hazard communication. Imagine you're a detective investigating a case. You need all the facts to solve the mystery. Working with hazardous materials is similar. You need information to stay safe. Luckily, there are three main sources of information: safety data sheets, SDSs, container labels, and your facility's written hazard communication program. Let's start with SDSs. Think of them as your chemical encyclopedia. They provide a detailed profile for each hazardous substance. You'll find the chemical's name, its other aliases, and the manufacturer's information. It's like an ID card for dangerous substances. SDSs also provide practical guidance. They outline first aid procedures for exposures and safe handling techniques. You'll learn about proper storage, spill cleanup, and the right personal protective equipment, PPE, to use. It's like having a safety manual at your fingertips. Section 2. Deciphering the label. Now, imagine you're in a hurry. You don't have time to read an entire encyclopedia. That's where container labels come in. They're like the quick reference guide to chemical safety. Labels provide a concise summary of the hazards. They use a combination of words, symbols, and colors to grab your attention. You'll see warnings about health risks, flammability, and reactivity. It's like a stop sign for your safety. Always take the time to read and understand the label before using any chemical. Labels can change as new information becomes available. Your safety depends on it. Section 3. The Workplace Game Plan. SDSs and labels provide information about specific substances. But what about the bigger picture? That's where your facility's written hazard communication program comes in. This document outlines your workplace's overall approach to chemical safety. It lists all hazardous chemicals present, their storage locations, and the designated safety personnel. The program also details emergency procedures. It outlines the steps to take in case of a spill, leak, or exposure. By familiarizing yourself with your facility's program, you become a more informed and prepared worker. You understand the potential hazards, the safety protocols, and the resources available to you. It's like having a safety net in place. Section 1. time, amount, and entry points. Understanding hazard communication requires grasping some key concepts. Let's start with exposure. Imagine spilling a cleaner on your skin. The duration of exposure is the time between the spill and when you wash it off. A short exposure like this might cause no harm, but prolonged contact could lead to problems. The amount or dose of a substance also matters. A small splash of cleaner might be harmless, but a large spill could be dangerous. The greater the dose, the higher the risk. Hazardous substances can enter our bodies in different ways. These are the routes of entry. Skin contact is one route. Inhalation is another route. Think of a dusty workplace or the fumes from paint thinner. These can pose serious inhalation hazards. Section 2. Setting limits for safety. How do we know how much exposure is too much? That's where exposure limits come in. Scientists and regulatory agencies set limits on how much of a substance we can safely be exposed to without experiencing harmful effects. One such limit is the threshold limit value, or TLV. Think of it as a speed limit for chemical exposure. Staying below the TLV generally means the exposure is safe. Exceeding it increases the risk of adverse health effects. Another important limit is the permissible exposure limit, or PEL. Employers must ensure that worker exposures to hazardous substances do not exceed these limits. These limits are constantly reviewed and updated as new information becomes available. Section 3. Toxic encounters. Now let's talk about specific classes of hazardous chemicals. Toxic substances are those that can disrupt our body's normal functions. They can interfere with breathing, heart rate, or even our nervous systems. Poisons are a subset of toxic substances. They're particularly dangerous because even a small dose can be lethal. Many products we encounter daily contain toxic substances. Pesticides, cleaners, solvents, and even some gases can be toxic. The key is to use them safely, following label instructions and wearing appropriate PPE. The dose and duration of exposure play a significant role in determining the severity of the effects. Section 1. Corrosive concerns. Imagine a substance so powerful it can eat through metal. That's the nature of corrosives. These chemicals can cause severe damage to skin, eyes, and respiratory tracts. Acids and bases are the two main types of corrosives. Strong acids, like sulfuric acid used in car batteries, can cause immediate, excruciating burns. Strong bases like caustic soda found in drain cleaners are equally dangerous, dissolving flesh and causing deep tissue damage. We encounter them in our homes too. Oven cleaners, toilet bowl cleaners, and even some rust removers contain corrosive ingredients. That's why it's crucial to handle these products with caution, wearing gloves and eye protection. Irritants are milder versions of corrosives. While less severe than corrosives, irritants still warrant careful handling. Section 2. Fire and fuel. Fire is a powerful force, and some chemicals can turn a spark into an inferno. These are the flammables and combustibles, substances that readily ignite and burn. The flash point of a liquid determines whether it's flammable or combustible. Liquids with low flash points, like gasoline, ignite easily at room temperature. Combustibles, like kerosene, need a bit of heat to get going. Flammable gases, like propane used for grilling, can also ignite explosively. Even seemingly harmless solids like sawdust or flour can become flammable when dispersed in the air. Preventing fires from these substances requires vigilance. Store flammables and combustibles properly, away from heat sources and open flames. Remember, a small spark can have devastating consequences. Section 3. Invisible threats. Some hazards are hidden in plain sight, invisible to the naked eye. Carcinogens and radiation fall into this category. Carcinogens are substances known or suspected to cause cancer. They work by damaging DNA, the blueprint of our cells, leading to uncontrolled cell growth. Asbestos, benzene, and formaldehyde are examples of carcinogens encountered in various industries. Radiation, like X-rays and gamma rays, can also damage DNA, increasing the risk of cancer and other health problems. Protecting ourselves from these invisible threats requires knowledge and precaution. Be aware of potential carcinogens and radiation sources in your workplace. Follow safety guidelines, wear appropriate PPE, and get regular checkups if you work in high-risk environments. Section 1. Shielding yourself from harm. Knowledge is power, but it's not enough. To truly stay safe around hazardous materials, we need to act on what we know. Personal protective equipment, PPE, is our armor against chemical hazards. It's a barrier between our bodies and potential harm. Gloves protect our hands from corrosive substances and skin-absorbing toxins. Goggles shield our eyes from splashes and fumes. Respirators filter out harmful dusts, vapors, and gases, allowing us to breathe safely in contaminated environments. Consulting the SDS or your facility's safety guidelines will help you select the appropriate gear for the job. Choosing the right PPE is crucial. Section 2. Safeguarding the workplace. Imagine a library where books are strewn about haphazardly. It would be chaotic and difficult to find anything. The same principle applies to hazardous materials. Proper storage is essential for a safe and organized workplace. Each class of hazardous materials has specific storage requirements. Flammables, for example, need to be kept away from heat and open flames, ideally in a dedicated flammable materials cabinet. Corrosives should be stored separately from other chemicals to prevent dangerous reactions. Proper ventilation is crucial for many hazardous materials. Good ventilation helps disperse fumes, keeping the air breathable. Make sure all containers are clearly labeled with the chemical's name, hazard warnings, and any special handling instructions. Section 3. Emergency response. Acting fast. Despite our best efforts, accidents can happen. A spill, a leak, or even a small splash can quickly escalate into a dangerous situation. That's why it's crucial to know how to respond quickly and effectively in an emergency. The first step is to stay calm and assess the situation. Identify the hazard, the area affected, and any potential victims. If the situation poses an immediate threat to life or safety, evacuate the area and call for help. For smaller spills or exposures, follow your facility's emergency procedures. No matter the size of the incident, always report it to your supervisor or designated safety personnel. Remember, a timely response can make all the difference. Knowledge is power. Action is safety. We've journeyed through hazard communication, uncovering safety data sheets, and exploring workplace safety programs. We've encountered hazardous characters, from corrosive acids to toxic fumes. But knowledge without action is like a car without an engine. Hazard communication isn't about memorizing facts. It's about integrating this knowledge into our daily routines. It's about putting on our safety glasses as instinctively as we fasten our seatbelts. Treating every chemical container with respect, knowing hidden dangers. Every time we choose the right gloves or double-check a label, we're reinforcing safety, transforming knowledge into action, protecting ourselves and colleagues. Section 2. A shared responsibility. Workplace safety isn't a one-person show. It's a collaborative effort, a symphony of awareness and responsibility. Employers must provide a safe working environment, but employees are the frontline defenders. They're the ones handling the chemicals, operating the machinery, and facing the risks firsthand. Their active participation in hazard communication is essential. Open communication is the lifeblood of a safe workplace. Employees should feel empowered to ask questions and report hazards. Employers should foster a culture of transparency and respond to safety concerns. Section 3. A culture of prevention. The goal of hazard communication is to prevent hazards from arising. It's about shifting from reaction to prevention, making safety ingrained in the operation. This requires a proactive approach, anticipating hazards. Conduct regular safety audits, identify and address risks, and improve safety protocols. A safety-conscious workplace emphasizes preventative measures. Encourage shared responsibility for safety. By embracing prevention, we create a safer, healthier, and more productive environment.